Hello, hello. I am so excited to be here. I can't even begin to find the right words for my level of excitement. I think I'm at an 11. Is anybody else at an 11? Okay, great. I have some things I need to confess and a few things I have to get off my chest. First of all, my name is Natalie Jackson. I'm the Director of Demand Generation at CBiz. It is pronounced CBiz, not CBIZ or CBiz. We are tax, accounting, benefits, professional services. The point is we have more than 300 different services that we offer. And because we're B2B, as you can probably guess, they all want a newsletter, right? That's what we do in B2B. We send newsletters. But I have some other confessions. I've been in B2B email marketing for, 14 years, 15 years. And the bread and butter of B2B email is the newsletter, right? That's what we do. We send newsletters. And everybody's like, hey, what's going in the newsletter next month? I'm tired. I'm really tired of talking about newsletters. I love being in B2B, but sometimes we're just not that innovative. And I'm hoping, I confess, to evangelize many of you to go home and say, but what if it wasn't a newsletter? What if we stopped sending newsletters and sent different kinds of emails? So that is my goal here today, is to evangelize. Now, I want to make one more confessional before we get started, and that is that I still am sending newsletters. So this is a transformation. So please do not go to the CBiz website, which is brand new and exciting, and sign up for emails and then be like, she is lying to me. These are newsletters. I know. It takes time. And if you take that away from today, give yourself some grace. It's hard to change the direction of a massive moving ship while it's going across the ocean. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't introduce new ideas, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't push to rethink how you're framing your email strategy. Just because we've always done it that way doesn't mean that's how we should do it, even though that is the mantra of every B2B company ever is well, that's the way we've always done it. Yeah, I know. Let's try something different, right? We're just not always as exciting as B2C or even as nonprofit, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I want to take a second to tell you how I got here. Yes, those are my attempts at Lisa Frank animations. I couldn't find the dolphins, though I did try. Look at this person, look how hopeful she is and joyful. I like to think of this as 2012 me, when I started at a new company as a content writer, and they were like, yeah, you're gonna write all of our content. And I was like, that sounds great. And then 4 weeks later, the person who had purchased Acton in its very first iteration had quit, and the person who ran the website had quit. And the company came to me and they were like, so do you know anything about HTML? And I was like, is that how it's said? I thought it was They were like, you own email now. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, sounds great. And so thus begins my journey. I mean, how many people here were probably in a similar situation? Somebody was like, hey, guess what? You own email now, right? That's almost all of us. So that is something affirming. But that also means that I've been sending newsletters since that time and thinking about content roundups. And because I am at heart a content person, it's easy for me to get caught up in this notion that everybody wants to see your content, right? So let's send out more content. So think of this as 2019 Natalie. She's peaceful. She's smiling, she's got her head tilted, it looks almost like a glamour shot at the mall, minus the mall banks, right? All right, now I'm gonna tell you, things are different now. That Natalie is gone. I don't know where she went. This Natalie, this is 2020 Natalie, who's looking at her inbox and recognizing that the average attention span in 2012 was 75 seconds. Do you know what it is in 2023? 47 seconds. That's the average attention span. I can't barely hold a thought in my head anymore because 2020 erased them all and then reframed them, right? So you've got the fact that we've come out of a massive pandemic, lots of global unrest. You've got shortening attention spans. News is flying at us at an alarming rate, right? Every time you turn around, you're like, what was that headline? Sorry, excuse me, what happened? What? So you've got that you're counteracting, right? So you've got a global workforce that's gone largely remote, and now we're sort of stuck in limbo. A lot of us are like, am I gonna be remote tomorrow? Are we going back? Are we not going back? Are we hybrid? Where are we? So our attention spans are shortening. The news headlines are increasingly everywhere. And then on top of that, We've got the fact that this is my face when I look at my calendar in the morning. Like, now that we're largely virtual and so many of the meetings are online, we are constantly digitally distracted. My day, and I don't know about yours, my day is a wall of Teams meetings interspersed by tiny little calendar blocks that I've managed to carve out weeks in advance so that I wouldn't get them booked over, so that I have 5 minutes to look at my email, so that I can see all of the things that I'm gonna have to do when I get out of this like wall of Teams meetings. I don't have time to barely process a thought in my head, let alone to really read a newsletter. So pop quiz, how many emails have you received, even like just since being here? Is it overwhelming? Like, do you look at that increasingly higher number ticking up in your inbox and just think like, and that's just my outlook, right? I get this in my Gmail as well. And because of course I'm an email geek, I am an avid email subscriber. I love your emails. However, I get like 300 of them in my promotions tab like a day. And that's a lot. I can't read them all. It's really exhausting and it's kind of stressful. I'm an achiever and it's like affirming to read through all the things and feel like I've responded to all the people. And it's really hard for me to like face the fact that I just physically can't do that every day of the week. So I want to take a minute and say, all right, that's a lot. We have a lot coming at us. And one of the things that I feel like I've heard a lot lately, both in the Email Geek Slack channels, just generally in the email community, including like from among my peers and the people that I work with, is, hey, why are my click-through rates declining? Why are my open rates not like they once were? Why are we not getting the same level of engagement on the emails that we're sending? I think it's because we're tired, y'all. We're tired. And I don't think it has as much to do with your personal strategy, although that could play a role in it, as it does just global exhaustion. So I started asking myself, like, hey, why am I not engaging with the emails that I did, that bright 2019 Natalie, those emails that she signed up for? Like, why is she not engaging with those? What's different? What's changed? Why am I not capable of getting involved with those emails in the way that I was 6 years ago? I wanted to ask myself, let's take a big step back. Maybe that long form newsletter scroll just doesn't serve the way that our brains have reprocessed all of this digital distraction post 2020. As most of us have moved so much of our lives online, I think it's time for us as email marketers to say, how can I better meet my digitally exhausted audience where they're at right now? To do this, I would say start with your 4 pillars of email success. And these may look different for each of you out here. This is what they look like for me as a B2B marketer. Essentially, you're trying to say, rather than, hey, let's like send a newsletter, you're trying to say, what are the things that I'm trying to accomplish with email? And if you can start there, right? Where am I trying to use email? What is the purpose of email for me and what roles is it playing? That's a great foundation for understanding what kinds of emails you can send that aren't newsletters, or maybe that are pseudo newsletters. For me, as a B2B marketer, I need to attract new buyers. I need to attract people into the nurture phase. Our sales cycle can be as long as 18 months to 5 years. So I've got to be thinking about the long game. Email is perfect for that, but first I got to get you in there, right? First I have to get you to tell me who you are, not me just like signing you up because I like the domain for your email address, which does happen in B2B, but we shouldn't do that. Client relationship, I want to keep these people. This is a retention play, right? So I want to make sure that I have engaging content that's establishing credibility, that allows people to see us as a leader in this space so they don't leave us for someone else. I want them to know that we have the answers, no matter what's happening, no matter what might be happening in the headlines or in the news or wherever, we have the answers that they need. I need to continue to establish that. I need to nurture people. So these people who are in this long game, I gotta make sure that I'm continuing to establish credibility, that I'm continuing to establish trust, that when they are ready to buy, they think of me first, and that they're willing to fill out my contact us form. And then lastly, I need to look at triggering events. Hey, if I know something major is happening at your company or in your personal life or in the headlines or in your industry, and I have an answer for that, I want to make sure that I'm being helpful in getting you the answer that you need for the problem that I know you're faced with. So in order to do this, you have to free up your calendar from all those newsletters. Because if I stack these 4 types of emails on top of a newsletter strategy for 300 services, we're talking about way too much email. That's the email exhaustion, right? So it requires you to take a big step back and say, okay, but like, what if we just took the entire notion of an email newsletter aside, set it over here, and thought first about what are we actually trying to accomplish with email? Time is of the essence in email. And this is actually my biggest pushback with where we're at right now with newsletters, is that they're scheduled sends. Oftentimes, like, raise your hand if you're like, our newsletter goes out on like a scheduled day every single day of the week or month, right? Yeah, right? Like, and then you get pushback from leadership because they're like, well, 3 o'clock on Wednesday, that's when our newsletter goes out, you know? But like, why are we not pushing back and saying, okay, but like, why? Why 3 o'clock on Wednesday? What does that matter? Like, what is this date about? So to me, email is a complex formula of timing, audience, and interest. And so when I'm looking at my inbox, these are the things that I am responding to as a recipient of email. I wanted to show you like a quick preview of like what my Gmail tab looks like. And as I look at these emails, like there are some that stand out to me more than others. You've obviously heard Logan talking about my gush about Jessa and her going emails. Those going emails, every single time, if you're like $520 degrees, I'm like, yes, please. Like, yeah, I want to know what that's about. Because the timing is of the essence, right? It's telling me right there in the subject line, hey, this is a short-term offer. Here's how much it is, and here's where you're going. Straight to the point. You're not trying to trick me. You're not trying to convince me to open something, which I don't like to be tricked with your subject lines. Like, it makes me feel like very gross when I open them, and I'm like, that was a trick. It's like Halloween, but like in the worst way. And then there are some other ones here too where I'm like 25% off coupon, like, okay, even though you showed me an image, I can't really tell what those things are, or like, did I want them? I don't want any of this. So it makes it easy for me to use that first pass of a subject line when I'm cleaning out my inbox. And I would say, like, I would encourage you to really spend some time and focus on those subject lines, because if you can get them clear, concise, and you can make sure that you're intersecting timing, audience, and interest, you have a higher degree of surviving that first pass of bulk delete. I have gotten into bulk delete phase in my life, and I'm sorry. I hope you all will forgive me. That's part of the confessional. But what I'm doing is I'm using subject line to say, do I want to come back to that? So I take my first pass, I'm like, I'm deleting all of these things. Oh, grease is staying. Okay, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to then click through and read the ones that seem like they're most timely and relevant for the 5 minutes I have to look at my inbox. The other thing is, once I open, I want to know, how does this matter to me right now? This is where the tricks are not going to do you any favors. If you trick me into opening your email and I open it and it's not rad, I'm going to be very sad. I'll have to do like a second slide on that next time. I didn't think about that until now. So let's make sure that your emails are rad. What does it mean when I say rad? It's a little bit like brave, right? It's like a nice like second step to making your email strategy brave. Like, now make your emails rad. So I want them to be relevant. Does it matter to me? Is it responsive to me? Is it adding value to my day? Is there something in this that I'm saying like, yes, I'm so glad I picked this up? Because if I read it and I don't get value, I'm not super happy with that. And is it designed for easy navigation? So is it super clear what it is that what you want me to do? Is it super clear like what happens if I take that action? Is it going to be obvious to me what this whole point of this email is? This is one that I did when I was at Influence that I actually really love, because I think it's a great example of like audience. This would not work probably anywhere unless you worked at like a marketing automation company. But what I wanted to do is basically trigger an email to everyone in the nurture funnel if they reached a certain contact threshold. Basically as an example to be like, hey, look, your contact score, and this was all personalized, like your contact score is 33. If you want to learn more about how can you use a contact score-based trigger in your automation program, it would take you to an instructional of like, how can you think about contact score, and like, what are some things that you should be considering, and how could you use this to be a better email marketer? So it was kind of fun, and it was a little bit like tongue in cheek, and it wouldn't work if you weren't an email marketer. But I think it works well if you know your audience and you're thinking about that timing and that trigger and like why I would want you to do this in the first place. The other one I want you to consider here is that, and I'm going to say something like kind of audacious in an email room, email is not your only channel. You may have excellent content. Don't rely just on email to distribute it. There are other places that you can look to help co-promote the content that you have in your email that might make more sense for your buyer and might make more sense for your audience. So for example, if you're talking about maximum reach of content, have you considered using dynamic content in your emails so that you're actually sending fewer emails and surfacing the things that are most relevant to the specific people on those lists? Have you considered using dynamic online experiences? Are your landing pages featuring dynamic content? Is your website featuring dynamic content? Does your chat bot feature dynamic content? We have so much data available to us as email marketers. Have you considered reaching out to your other partners in automation to say like, hey, do we have some opportunities to co-promote this content in a way that is like mutually beneficial? And you can use a lot of this even in gated capacity, right? So you can basically say, hey, my chatbot requires you to enter your email address in order to access this piece. And I'm gonna make sure that it's okay with that person after they download it. Hey, can I send you some emails? Do you wanna subscribe? Is this something that you're interested in? Would you like more like this? So you can still be encouraging and nurturing and not like creepy spam cannon, and get to working across all of these different digital channels. I would even say sales enablement technologies are a great place to co-promote. And I kind of have a soapbox that like email marketers should own sales enablement technologies. We can also use those technologies to incorporate our outbound sellers in our email strategy and say, hey, can you help me get people into the nurture funnel? No, I will not add your prospect list to my newsletter. However, I will give you a link to encourage them to download things that would enter them into the nurture and help us get them into subscriber bases. Personalization, of course, like that, requires a great degree of understanding, and I promise you I will not read you this entire slide, so I encourage you to take a picture of it or look at the slides later. But what you need to be thinking about as you're talking about your personalization journey, and I've heard many of us talking about this throughout the duration of the week, is your data house in control? Do you trust your data? Is it gonna hallucinate? Is it gonna give you wrong variables? My favorite is when people put into their CRM sales first name, something like Mr. John, what's his name? I don't know. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna personalize an email to Mr. John, I don't know. So review your data sets, make sure that you understand how they're getting populated, make sure that you understand that they're trustworthy, and really have a clear picture of how those data points are getting entered into the system before you decide to trigger your email strategy off of them. Things could go catastrophically south. Integrations are a huge part of that as well. How is that data getting updated? Is it getting frequently maintained? If you want to use a date-based trigger, for example, you really need to understand how often that date-based trigger is updated and what source it's being updated from. Is that getting back into your marketing automation platform? Journeys. How much data do you have about the journey? Where are they? How engaged are they? How interested are they in? That might not sit in your email platform. That might sit somewhere else. Can you integrate it back into your email program, even if you're creating custom fields to do so that you know how engaged someone is or isn't? The way that you might treat someone who's brand new to your brand should be very different from somebody who's been an engaged subscriber for maybe 5 or 6 years. So can you personalize to that data point as well? And then lastly, and this is so important, again, content marketer at heart, is your content good? Please do not send out terrible content and be like, I don't know why nobody downloaded the checklist that I gated. Like, probably it wasn't very good. So make sure that your content is actually relevant and interesting and that, you know, people want to download it in the first place. And then lastly, do not forget your platforms. I'm not gonna shame these people. I promise I won't. But like, come on, this is my Outlook inbox and this hurts my heart. I can't see any of it. And I'm sure it's rendering beautifully in Gmail, but this is my Outlook inbox. Like, I can't see any of it. So do think about your platforms when you're thinking about your audience. I have to have this conversation as a B2B marketer with every person who ever develops an email in collaboration with me. I have to be like, did you run that through Litmus or Email on Acid or any of these tools to tell me what that button looks like? Oh, you set it at 100%. Okay, well, that's gonna be a problem, right? So you've gotta remember that certain types of emails are gonna look really bad in Outlook. A lot of them are gonna look really bad in Outlook. So now that we've set the foundation, I wanna give you some examples of my favorite emails, the ones that I felt like, hey, I'm still reading these, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about like what they're doing that I think is a way for us to look forward beyond the newsletter. So I wanna start with e-commerce. If you must sell to me, please give me something more than buy, right? I get a million of these. Like, I don't know why these sweater places think I'm gonna buy a sweater every week. Like, I don't have that kind of money. So like, what else do you have to keep me engaged as a subscriber that isn't just a constant ask to buy? Like, even 25% off, like, fine, I'm still not gonna spend like 25% off every single day of the week to buy a sweater. What else do you have for me? Can you help me style something? Can you help me make something? Can you help me craft something? King Arthur Bakery, if you aren't, or King Arthur Flour Company, if you aren't on their newsletters, they have excellent newsletters. Like, I would argue this isn't really a newsletter. They send me recipes, and they're like, hey, giant hostess cake. That was the subject line, by the way, giant hostess cake. I was like, oh God, yes, like, what are we talking about here? Like, I'm gonna open that every day of the week. And then it goes on to kind of explain to me, hey, like, here's this great thing. It's super easy to make. Here's the recipe. Oh, and by the way, in case you need the ingredients, these are the ingredients that we used from King Arthur that you can then buy from us so that you can make the hostess cake, right? So it's a really soft sell. It's really more about providing value and helping me get some inspiration. Food 52 does a great job of this as well, and it's a little bit softer because they're selling products. So if you're selling products, it's a little bit harder to do than if you're selling ingredients, but I actually think they do a great job as well. Usually they're giving me inspiration, and they're picking a single product, and they're like, we're gonna tell you everything there is to know about this product. We're gonna feature it, You're gonna know like soup to nuts at the end of it. You're gonna be so excited about this thing that like, even though I don't need a martini mixer, like I'm gonna buy one, I don't know. Looks kind of cool, right? So we'll tell you like, here's some recipes, here's some inspiration, like here are the features, here's the people who made it. So they're really diving into like a singular focus rather than giving me like a huge scroll of all the things on sale this week, 25% off is yours. Sometimes though, a scroll is a time saver. So just to, convolute my own opinion on the previous email, one of the ones that I really like is Bookshop. Anybody a bookshop.org subscriber? Yeah, literary people, woo! I love this one because I love to add these things to my to be read list. So I keep like a very long like to be read list. If you also do this, we should talk. And I like to go through this. It actually makes it really quick and easy for me to see like what came out this week. Do I know those writers? Like, did I know about that book? Have I heard things about it? Or is there like something on here that I hadn't heard about that I really want to know about? So I can add it to my to be read pile. And it kind of even breaks it out by genre, which is nice because I don't want to read all the genres. So I can kind of pick and choose the genres that I like, and I can get like a preview. And if there's one that I really do like, I can click through to it. But more often, I'm not clicking on these emails. I really hope they don't unsubscribe me. But I don't click on them because I'm actually scrolling through it to be like, yes, 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 no, 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 no. And it's really helpful to me to scroll that versus like clicking through to the website and then like trying to filter and then like closing the pop-up. This is a time saver for me. Here's my going email. Jessa, yeah, shout out. Like, this is what I was gushing about these emails. I love Going's email strategy. Like, I would encourage everyone here to go sign up for the Going. Actually, like, come talk to me. I'll give you my referral link, and then you should sign up for the Going email strategy. But it's really excellent because they're featuring places that I would never think to go to, and then they're giving me like a really long narrative about all the niche things that I could do there that I'm never going to find in TripAdvisor or Booking.com. It is a story. It is not a sell, it's a story. Now, what I especially love about it as a marketer is that it does have a call to action to go sign up for the paid subscription. So it's like, hey, download the app and be a paid subscriber and you'll get even better deals. So like, it's soft, it's there. It's not like it doesn't have a call to action. It's just that the call to action is not the point. The point is to establish a story, to help me understand the value that they're bringing to me, and to save me some time so that I understand, hey, like this is actually a really credible, awesome site. I open like every email that they send to me. I promise you they're not gonna unsubscribe me because I'm on that thing all the time. Sales emails, I know like, I'm waiting for the guests, like somebody gonna clutch their pearls. Sales emails can be good too. So this is actually like part of my soapbox that like you can actually be involved in outbound sales emails and help them be better email marketers because it is an email channel. Well, so this is actually one that I got when I was looking for account-based marketing software. And so we were engaged with like an account-based marketing software provider and like things were kind of interesting. And I was like, I want to look at some other options. So I started looking at some other options. And then I got this like heartbreaking email from the person we were working with. And he was like, I can tell that you're looking at other other account-based marketing providers. And like, I want to know why. And I was like, I feel like I've been like caught like out on a date with somebody else or something. I was like, I'm profusely apologetic. I was like, I'm super sorry. Like, I feel like I should have told you. I don't know. I was just like window shopping. So, I mean, they can be relevant. It goes back to knowing your audience. Like now with this work, if you were selling accounting software, no, that would freak them out. They would be like, how did you know I was looking at other account-based or accounting software tools? Like that would be scary. But if you're thinking about your audience and the things that are compelling to them, you can incorporate that into a sales email in a way that doesn't feel creepy or pushy or cold. So this is one that I actually thought like, you know what, I'll save it. And you can incorporate Rock Talk. I'm a Jayhawk. Rock Talk, Jayhawk. Any other Jayhawks? None. Wow. All right. Well, moving on then. Okay, so, sorry, like I'm still a little raw after the tournament. Get to the point. So this is another one I think is really important for us, is like sometimes we get too caught up, again, content marketer, we get too caught up in like the message and the narrative and the story. And there is a time and place for that, but there's also a time and place for like, I really don't need any more information. Like just tell me the one thing, please, thank you. And I don't even need you to click through. Like there's no reason to click through. It's just adding value to my day by telling me something really helpful right now. And I think as email marketers, we get a little caught up in that click-through. Hey, what's the click-through? I'm not saying abandon your click-throughs. I'm just saying sometimes you don't need them to get the message across and to build the relationship. So here are two great examples. Google My Business, I think this is a great one. It's a quick and easy reminder. Hey, don't forget to set your holiday hours. Very important. You don't want people showing up at your place of work and like no one being there. That's not a great experience. So encouraging people by reminding them, hey, loyal customer, do this thing. Right? Like there's no intrinsic call to action here. They're not measuring the ROI of that email, but it is helpful for the relationship side of things. Beaver Creek, anybody else ski? I ski, I love to ski. Yes, I love this. Like it snowed 7 inches the past 48 hours. I don't need to read the weather report. Like I just want to go. Like I'm ready. Can I get my skis? Like, let's go. Like, it's a quick and easy way to be like, we just want you to get out here, right? Like, I don't need any more information. You told me it snowed 7 inches. Let's carry on about our merry way. Like, I'll see you in a few hours, 10 hours. Sometimes, though, lots of information can get easier with simple design. Now, I have to like confess something else about this email. I asked some of my coworkers, I was like, hey, share with me some of your long form emails that you're still reading. Which ones are you still really excited to engage with? And this is one that one of my coworkers shared with me. And I have to admit that I was like, I don't love it. I was like, I actually like don't love this recap and I don't like this roundup. So then I had to ask myself, like, what is it about this email that she does love, that she felt like she needed to share with me? And it does go back to testing and knowing your audience. And for her, in her role at our company, this was really helpful. She needed this information because she's someone who's outwardly engaging with the media for speaker proposals and pitches for the company, like helping place people in the right spots. So for her, this was a helpful recap. For me, I was like, this is treacherously boring. I don't have the attention span for it. And so I think it does kind of play into, again, like you have to know your audience. You have to have that question of like, what is it that I'm doing for them today? As email marketers, we should be in service to our recipient. Can I save you time? Can I save you a click? Can I help you get the information you need in a quick and easy way? That is the value that we have that no other channel has. I can tell you what you need to know right now. If I can just move beyond the fact that it is a scheduled send at 3 o'clock on Wednesdays, and I must measure everything on the clicks, and I have to know how we're engaging with it. Sometimes it's just about the fact that I can get to you quicker as an email marketer than anyone else in the marketing department. So if you're thinking about what is that value that I can bring, a lot of times that helps us be closer to the customer, closer to the relationship, and really establish that trust that we as email marketers should be looking for. All right, thank you. Hopefully you're ready to unnewsletter.